Good morning and Namaste, my friend. Welcome to Namaste Today in the Zodiac weather. My name is Stepº12. I am the sensei to Sirius joy, here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. Such a pleasure to light walk with you. I'm lovecasting live in 5 dimensions on this beautiful temple of Gaia on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015. And I've chosen this beautiful, tranquil scene with an antique bridge crossing over the water because today we're at step 12. Step 12 is when we indeed cross the bridge. Now you might have remembered step 12 from a month ago when we had this image of us high in the mountains and I had us crossing this rope bridge, and to some degree it was the treacherous, it was the unknown. Today it's not so much treacherous, but it is definitely unknown because we're crossing the bridge into faith, we're crossing the bridge into our connection to spirit, and in the highest form, our connection to God. So that means it's a leap of faith. It might feel like somewhat of the Fool card in the Tarot. But if you follow my instructions today, you'll be A-OK crossing that bridge. Before we dive into crossing the bridge, let's first prepare our brain, shall we? With the phrase of the day. I love and trust myself today, and I am mindful of my feelings today. I love and trust myself. We're not going to question that when we're out there on the road. When you're crossing a bridge, this isn't a time to question yourself. So we want to make sure that smartass is in line today. I love and trust myself. That's today. You can question tomorrow, or the next day, or Saturday. All right? So I love and trust myself today, and I am mindful of my feelings today. And if you don't know how to be mindful of your feelings, I've had a lot of people say, how do you be mindful of your feelings? Well, one way, in a very mental way, is to picture yourself pushing a baby carriage all day. Because our emotions are a baby. We are a baby inside emotionally. Every person is. You just know how to ignore it or not, or suck it up or not. But if you're at all human, you're sensitive and you have feelings. So to be mindful of them is to imagine them with you all the time. Or to check on them. How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? But today we want to be both, because it's this combination of loving and trusting ourselves and being mindful of our feelings that gets us across that bridge. It's step by step as we go and feeling our way as we go. So let's say it one more time. I love and trust myself today, and I am mindful of my feelings today. And so it is. I thought so. The serious step of the day is step 12. This is Jupiter. So it's going to be an optimistic day. I love Jupiter-ruled days. This is purebred Sagittarius energy. And if you know any Sagittariuses, they are fun to be around. So it's actually a jovial day, especially when you make it to the other side of the bridge, right? Now, the way this is constructed is like this. We have the foundation of loving and trusting our connection to spirit in Pisces. And today we add our feelings to that. So that means you love and trust yourself and you feel for what's next. Feeling is not logic. Feeling is not what's been done before necessarily, right? In fact, a lot of times it feels like we have done it before, but we haven't when it feels right. And what this leads to is a new belief. Step 12, which 1 plus 2 makes 3. So it leads to a new belief. It leads to a new way of connecting. It leads to a new social collective consciousness. It leads to a new group of friends. It leads to new cool stuff. And because it's in Pisces, it leads to new epiphanies. Let's take a look at the chakras involved. Now we are opening up our crown chakra. Step 7, I sense Pisces. And today we add yellow, mellow yellow. So get in your yellow submarine and chill it out before you go outside. You will not be able to cross the bridge if you have anxiety, if you're feeling tired, that sort of thing. So you want to feel good and feel good about yourself. And then this leads to an indigo, a new belief, a new way of seeing, a new vision, and our third eye opening, which means, you know, literally when your third eye opens, it means you get a glimpse of the future really quick when you are introduced to an aspect. So for instance, when a client will be talking to me in a reading about something they want to do in the future, my third eye will see it, like boom, 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 right away. I used to think that was my imagination until I saw critical details that they tell me about in the next few seconds. So you actually, boom, 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 like I think project your reality when you put the pieces together, and you should see a flash of images of the future you are pre-creating for the future pre-sent, right? So let's take a look at the cosmic clock and see the timing of things, shall we? And here we are at the cosmic clock. So God is at step 12, and we are sandwiched between Neptune and Chiron. I'll show that in the Tower of Truth here in just a couple of minutes. But it is the bridge, and we are nearly at the epicenter, the center of the Pisces transit. Mercury is talking to God. See that 7? So think God, says Mercury. That's convenient since we're in Pisces right now. And so this means that with our intuition, our minds will come to a decision, step 8, probably by tomorrow. A decision about our Aquarius, our mapping, and where we see ourselves in the big world of belonging. Then we have this grand trine and yod pointing to Jupiter. And today is a Jupiter-ruled day. How about that? So I believe that this is really what it's all about, this Jupiter retrograde here in Leo. And this is about expanding our beliefs. Now, Jupiter's at step 14. Now, that comes to a 5, which means we will have a change of mind, a change of framing our heart around something. We're reframing our heart. And right now, the moon is illuminating where it is our heart is framing up. So I believe that part of this epiphany, part of this understanding, is what God is pointing to right here. It's about framing our mind differently around our heart. What does framing mean? Well, I've been always framing myself as the poor damsel in distress. That's what my heart has always framed it as. Or I've always framed myself as the king. Or I've always framed myself as this. Like you've framed all of your heart and all of your passion around some sort of envelope. The little smartass has wrapped an envelope around it. And so the heart stays trapped in that. So I believe what's happening is this liberation is going to happen. And really banging on the drums pretty hard is Mars right now. In fact, today Mars is at purebred 9 degrees. So Mars is the 9, and it's at 9 in Aries at 9. This is a 999, which makes an 18. I'm a step 18. And I realized today, I'm like, oh, that's hot. I've got 3 9s in me. I was thinking about, like, I'm going to morph my energy into 3 9s instead of being a 10 and an 8. You know, you can do that kind of stuff, you know, the energy. So this explains a lot why I can't calm down. There's 3 9s in me always going all the time. But this is an anxiety, and I actually felt this starting yesterday, like this grand trine opening up. Part of the pressure point is Saturn at the top in Sagittarius. That's a belief we have. So we're probably misframing our heart from a belief we have. Right? And underneath the seams is this new us wanting to be born. The new us is Mars, our ego, I am this or I am that, and it's pushing hard on Uranus. So if you look at this baby right here, Venus is ready to jump on Uranus. Take that any way you want. She's at step 13 today. That is the nuclear step, and that's the step we're going to be at the end of the day. I'll tell you that in a minute here. So we are ready to innovate and jump. Now, step 13 is ruled by Uranus. So as far as I'm concerned, we have already surrendered ourselves to the new ego. This grand trine is ready to elevate our ego to the new I am. So I am not the victim. I am the survivor. Right? That would be an elevated I am as a result of reframing the heart. Right? That kind of thing. So we are moving ahead. And Mars is at step 9 going, go, baby, go. So he's ready to get this whole thing. And look at the south node. The Mars is about to cross the south node. So this means this is a very sensitive line, a sensitive line that we have. We're jumping away from an old way of being. And because the south node is in Aries, we're jumping away from an old way of who we are. And because the north node is in Libra, we're jumping towards the new relationship to ourself. So you can see we're all about to pop out of an ice cube tray here. Now, looking at the sun, it's a 2-part day, actually. The degree is changing midway through the day. This is part of the Earth's orbit, and it happens like this. We speed up and slow down, and the steps change in the middle and the end of the day. So today we begin with believing. We begin with step 12. We begin with crossing that bridge. But it looks like we actually reach the other side by the end of the day. In fact, by 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time is when the degree shifts and we move into step 13. From that point at 5:40, all hell can break loose for anyone who is disconnected from reality. So, you know, people who are pushing things too far, people who are taking it to the edge, this is when the universe snaps and is at the step 13. Seen it lots and lots. And because it's Pisces, it's God, it's death, it's maybe heavy, it's opportunity for healing, it's opportunity for release, but the pressure just gets too big. So definitely want to go with the flow, follow your feelings, be mindful of yourself today. And when you get to the other side, you will see there will be a breakthrough. There will be some sort of new feeling of belonging. That's what 13 ends to, is a 4. New feeling of belonging at the end of the day, or when you wake up tomorrow as well. Step 13 will rule half the day tomorrow. So you'll see me kind of doing these two-step analysis here for the next couple of weeks or so. All right, so let's take a look of how to deal with these psychic energies and continue with our series in the Sensei Sunrise. So we have the Sun in Pisces, and that is our connection to spirit, and I'm doing this little mini-series in the Sensei Sunrise about psychic sensibilities. Yesterday in the first part of the series, I talked about the first 3 psychic sensibilities, which had to do with nutrition, setting the body's foundation to be open to listen and not putting anything in our body that creates a scattered signal. So definitely watch those if you haven't. Today, these 3 psychic sensibilities will actually help you with your connection to God and your connection to listen. So let's start with psychic sensibility number 4. Number 4, emotions are the language to the soul. All right? That means that when you feel something, your soul is talking to you, always. Everything your soul says is through your emotions. All right? And so this is a literal quote out of the Conversations with God series. God literally says it, and I was excited to read it because I have always noticed myself that my psychic energy is a feeling before it is a thought or an image or a word. Another interesting point to feelings is if you're trying to figure out your psychic sensibilities, well, if you're having a bad feeling, it's coming from your mind. We don't get bad feelings from the psychic realm. We don't get bad feelings from evil spirits. We don't get bad feelings from anything in spirit. Bad feelings come from the mind. That's also from Conversations with God, and that's also from my experience too. The mind thinks of something and boom, you go into it. You'll notice every time you feel bad, your mind was thinking something that led to it just before. Now, good feelings come from the heart. So when you feel really excited, right, your heart is talking to you. So for instance, when you go, God, will I win the lottery? And you're like, ah, you get this huge excitement. That's your heart. That's not God talking. Your heart is getting excited right away at the possibilities, but not necessarily is that coming from God. In fact, in my humble experience, whenever God speaks to me, it is completely neutral, very calm and peaceful. And even bad news comes in very peacefully. In fact, when I don't feel fear is when I think I ought to. Because if I don't feel fear when the information comes in, that means it is accurate. When the fear is there, that means my mind is thinking about it. And that's why when I feel fear, I can dismiss it right away because I know fear is not God warning me. All right? God warning me is neutral, peaceful, and calm always. So listen for those 3 distinctions and interpret as you wish. Step 5. You must always ask God a question to get an answer. Okay? You must always ask a question to get an answer. Now, I learned this from the angels, and I used to think that they were kind of like screwing with me because they were answering in riddles and things, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck, why? Why not just be direct? Please just tell me as a human, right? I realized it's because not to interfere with free will, and they say that too. In other words, you have to figure it out. You have to ask the question. So you have to ask God, Creator, whatever, right? Like, hey, I'm going to do this. Is this in my soul's best interest? All right? Or whatever. Is Bobby cheating on me? or whatever. You ask the question and you wait for an answer. Now, free will is never interrupted by spirit, and it will answer always, I find, if you ask the question. So there is no holding back. It's just, can you handle the answer? Secondly, the answer is always immediate. Okay, so I find that before I can even finish asking the question, the answer comes in. I'll be like, is this client? Oh, okay. And I was wondering, oh, like it comes in that fast. And I've learned to translate that fast as well, but I find that it's immediate. So when you ask the question, if you don't get an immediate neutral feeling response, then you may be ignoring the feeling, because I've never not gotten it if I've listened for it or paid attention for the feeling. So the answer is a feeling. It's never a thought. It's always a feeling at first. Remember, the language of the soul is a feeling. And really what happens is the mind translates that feeling into meaning and image. And the third eye will then create the image. But it all comes in first through this feeling. So what you want to do is allow your feelings. And allow if you feel fear. Allow if you feel love. Allow for all your feelings to happen inside of you. So when the neutral ones go by, you can pay extra attention to those. And it's not just a neutral feeling, but there's also a knowing that you feel as well, or at least I do. Then our sixth psychic sensibility, God is everywhere. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you are being led by God, when you're asking for help, and you will get it when you ask for help, and just be grateful as you ask, grateful ahead of time, you'll find that anything you notice is God speaking to you. So you may notice a song, you may notice a commercial, you may notice a quote on a billboard, you may notice a line in a book, you may notice a dream, you may be laughing and come to a conclusion. All these little experiences, you'll notice that there's something extra going on in these little moments. You'll feel an extra tug as you look at that thing. And yes, you go, is that my imagination? I'm just, right? But if you follow those little clues and you listen to the song that's on the radio when this car goes on, you will find some profound conclusions. And it's not, you'll see for yourself, it's not your imagination when you allow to go and let it flow. So when you ask the question, you get an immediate answer. But I find that God will continue to teach you throughout the day and throughout your life, showing you in all these parts of your life how you're living it, how you're being it right now. All right? So in today's 11:11, I'm going to be asking, where is your sleeping fortune? We all have fortune that is sleeping. In other words, fortune that is just waiting to be opened as soon as we see it, as soon as we know it. And it's represented by Jupiter in our chart. And we will be open to our fortune today, so I want you to be open to where your fortune is, and I'll tell you where yours is sleeping. And then I will talk about what your keystone state is to open it. So I've talked about this before. There's one state of awareness that's usually guarding the door to something. That's the keystone state. And so what is your keystone state to open the door once I point out where the fortune is? That's all part of the Sirius Joy Personal Sensei Service. And if you'd like to be in the Sensei group for 30 days, we're now selling tickets to April. Come on down to SiriusJoy.me for more. And that brings us to today's telepathy. Today I'm going to go to Disneyland in my emotional memory for you. As one of my brightest memories is Disneyland. It's one of the things I love so much. So I thought, I'm trying to think about things that just broadcast ridiculous love, so you can kind of understand and receive. So today it's another one of my favorites. And this is, which of these is my favorite Disneyland attraction? Now you may be familiar with Disneyland or not, but you don't have to. Because remember, you're looking for a feeling when I say this. You'll get a feeling, probably, a buzz. You might get a feeling on all of them, by the way. But you'll get a particular feeling on the right answer. That's what we want to do. And I'll have the answer when we come back from commercials. So, which of these is my personal favorite Disneyland attraction? Is it, number 1, Small World? It's a small world after all. Number 2, Tomorrowland, the place of the future. Number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean, the attraction that led to the movie series. Which of these 3 is little Chris Witecki's favorite? We'll have the answer when we come back after this.
You know, there's a secret in your birthday to courage, and courage leads to love. Are you ready to find out the truth? I have the answer. You too can find the truth if you dare. All that and more at secretsofbirthdays.com.
And welcome back to Namaste Today. So we were doing a little telepathic quiz, and it was my favorite from Disneyland. Which of these is my favorite? It's a Small World, Tomorrowland, or the Pirates of the Caribbean? And the answer is, it's a Small World. Now that's kind of an obvious logical one, but minor child loves that. In fact, even just saying it, my heart goes into singing. And of course, as a little child, I was already wanting to be a light worker. It's a small world after all. But maybe your heart felt that joy. Tomorrow we'll do another little telepathy quiz and keep sharpening our skills. So let's move on to our rock and roll gospel. We're looking at groovy Pisces musicians who have brought us into spirit and into our heart. And today we're looking at a Grandmaster Pisces, Michael Bolton. Are you surprised? Step 7 Pisces, that's Grandmaster, can hit that God note so perfectly, and indeed, particularly when he's singing about women. When a man loves a woman, this is an awesome song, and it really brings out that Pisces. Well, if you know Pisces and women, that's all I'm saying. Like, you can tell this is a Pisces telling, how they feel. And I think Pisces really, really deeply feel when they love, too. So listen to this if you want to have a little tune-up to your heart today with the Moon and Leo. I thought it'd be a perfect choice. But before you go off romanticizing, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today. And, of course, I'll be giving you a little extra guidance. Today's theme is what your ego will be triggered by in that 999. So what your ego will be triggered by in the 999. Starting with the Scorpio, sunny and professional today, but your ego will be triggered by work, your health, and your daily routine. So pretty much anything in the way of a Scorpio will trigger them today. Step 1, the Leo, sunny and cool with the moon in their sign, but be cautious. Your ego will be triggered by ignorance and a lack of information. Now, you're technically triggered by ignorance in yourself and impatient with your own ignorance, but of course Her Majesty or His Majesty will be protecting that. Step 2, the Cancer is sunny and productive today, but your ego will be triggered by career issues and whatever the quote industry is. I've noticed about Cancers, they get very particular about the industry, whatever industry they're in. So your industry will probably trigger you. Step 3, the Sagittarius is sunny and pensive today, but your ego might be triggered by old heartbreaks or creative projects as well, something in your creative field. Step 4, the Aquarian, sunny and sentimental today, but your ego may be triggered by thoughts, or particular arguments you're playing out in your thoughts. Step 5, the Gemini, sunny and super chatty, but your ego may be triggered by friendships or the rumor mill, or both, right? Step 6, the Libra, sunny and social today, but this is no surprise. Ego's triggered by marriage and partnerships. Well, when you superglue yourself to somebody. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying. Step 7, happy birthday, Pisces. That's the high bell tone. Your ego is, you're sunny and sensitive today, first of all. But your ego is triggered by money issues and self-confidence. And remember, money issues always come from self-confidence. Step 8, the Capricorn, sunny with a chance of Randi, and your ego is triggered by family or home life issues, FYI. So, the Cancers and Capricorns both being, triggered by the opposite thing there. And the Aries, sunny and childlike today, but might feel a little ranty, maybe feeling a little devilish. That's because you were triggered by everything. This whole calamity in Aries is in your sign. No, but seriously, you're probably triggered by everything. Step 10, the Taurus, sunny, nesting, and resting. No wonder I've been so tired. I haven't been nesting and resting. I need to be. And our ego's been triggered by faith and the past. So, having faith. And that does mean telling the ego to be quiet, keep walking. Step 11, the Virgos, sunny and spiritual, a little withdrawn today. Ego triggered by forced changes. Changes you don't want to do, but you have to do. And that, of course, comes down to your comfort zones. You're not comfortable with this. That's going to trigger your ego. All right. Moving on to the Lightwalker Parade. If you watch us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. It helps us with our relationship with them. And on Facebook, you can be our friend by going to soulgarden.me. And if you'd like to get a little email every morning saying Namaste, you can go to soulmart.me and join our email list. I only send one a day, so don't worry, you're not going to get blasted from me. Too much work. And don't forget, the Sirius Joy Camp, I've got a page up that explains it. It's now going to begin March 28th. I was looking at the planets, and I've aligned this so that your new ego that's being born in Aries will be born as you go through the Sirius Joy Camp. So I do that on purpose. I line my classes up with the actual astrology. So if you want to like supercharge your rebirth and super define it, this class can be awesome. It has worksheets you get to keep. You know all your steps. You create a step chart. It's going to be groovy. Come on down to soulmart.me for more. And the greatest thing you can do is tell your friends about us. Care to share us? We have little segments now called Sensei Sunrise segments where you can review the wisdom that I put out there and also share them with your friends. There's always more coming out. And don't forget, the mothership of light is soulgarden.tv. We're always happy to have you come by and sign any of our little message boards around the site. I see all of them and I always respond to them. All right, my friend. Good luck crossing that bridge. I love you so much. I'll see you in 24 hours with more. Until then, live, love, be.
This is just so ironic.